Hey, this is Adam with Tied to Nature. I have another weekly update for you, and this is for week ending in February 27th. The month is almost over, and my season in Yellowstone is too. Well, it's not over, but it's getting close. So the season ends on March 15th. So really just about 2 weeks left. So update, most of this update comes from really 3 days in the park. All these pictures do. It was a great 3 days. I was out with great photographer Max and a couple clients that he had with him, and we had a good time. Not saying the other days weren't good, but there was so much happened through those 3 days, and so much I got to photograph. That's where my focus on these pictures I'm going to share is. As far as updates, no wolves down south, no word on a bobcat. Everything else you're gonna have to wait and see in the video. Some great things this week. And see, I have a couple bald eagles up here to start with, and it was nice. I think I got two different pictures here. Nothing terrific. It was really hard to get an angle on these two, and this one was kind of neat because I was actually shooting kind of through just a small space between some branches in the tree to get this. But nice thing with this is you got a good comparison side by side. Is what pair of bald eagles. It's that time they should be courting, getting ready to set up or have the territories and have be on a nest here. Not too much longer, but this bald eagle right here is quite a bit bigger than this one next to it. So females are typically bigger than the males, and so that's most likely what you're looking at here is a male and a female bald eagle. So I have a few black and whites in here. There was a few photos, and landscape. Well, I think the one landscape. The rest are environmental pictures. I liked the way this turned out. I was playing around with a black and white program. Looks good, and it's just a very simple scene. This is out in Hayden Valley, Elk Antler Creek, and the way that it curves back and forth, it was very appealing out there. Hayden Valley's very beautiful this time of year, very simple and white. And of course, the big bull bison walking down the road right towards us. This was over by Gibbon Meadows, and this is truly one of the big guys. I've had some big guys, but you can see he's older. He looks worn out. I mean, look at that horn there. Part of it's broken off. And he was just a big, broad guy and got a few fit pictures. You can see that horn better in there. And again, snow covered. I think I mentioned this in other updates. That snow, it's a sign of being warm. It's not melting off because their body and that fur coat retains the heat so well. And I really love this one. It had more of a face, more of its face, but I kind of cut it off. I left of the empty space over here, and that eyeball just like he's looking at you. And I think at this time he was pretty close, and I was actually shooting from the window of the vehicle as he went by. And funny thing with this one, so he's walking up to us and he's getting close. I say, okay, we got to get back in, and I'm going to leave the door open so he'll just walk by and they can look at him and get some pictures. He walks by. And as I'm watching him, I'm thinking he's not going to veer off. He's going to go right for that glass door. And kind of right before he was getting there, I shut that door and he just went right on by. So he didn't want us to get any pictures from the car, the coach. At least not that he didn't want any pictures, but he wasn't going to move for that door. Bald eagle. This was nice because same with the other two bald eagles that I posted or just shared, is these bald eagles were very tolerant of us. I mean, we're sitting in the coach right below this thing, and I'm thinking, you guys, we're not going to get out, shoot from the windows. It's probably going to fly. I was another coach started coming. I put the backup in, and it starts beeping, and this guy stays there. I was watching as we left. The coach behind us, all of them got out. And the other two bald eagles, I mean, they were there for like an hour. All kinds of people going back and forth trying to get pictures or 25 yards off. And I mean, it was just crazy how tolerant some of these eagles are. But it was beautiful, the light on this, the detail, and how close I could, zoom up on him to, or her, it, to get the details in this one. Very impressed. A lot of noise behind it, which is a pain, but just the detail in the eagle, I was very happy with. So this was a big deal. It was day 2, so this would have been Tuesday with Max, and I've been watching and waiting to see these martins. Now, up front with these martins, they're at an area where there's a gas station and a dumpster and different things in the park. And at first I thought, they're just hanging around here. They've made this area home. And you can see there's a building. I don't know what this building is behind them. But it would be on the roof and back and forth. And, the sad thing ended up being is after we watched them for a while, we noticed what kept them around is there was a dumpster they were able to get into. And it's, the dumpster has 2 feet of snow on it. So it hasn't been used all winter. So it was never emptied from this past summer or fall time. And so they kind of found a food source. So it's not natural, but at the same time, I mean, these guys they're curious, they're weary of us. They were watching us, wondering what's going on. I think they've seen quite a few photographers out there, and they put on a show for a few. They're definitely skittish. So it's wild. And I don't think they associate people with food. I'm almost positive they don't. I mean, for them, it's just this utopia of a dumpster they found, which is sad that it's a dumpster, but so they found this food source, and so they're staying in this area, and we were able to spend an hour with them watching them. Great tree climbers, and you can see with these claws right here, those are perfect for all kinds of things, including climbing trees. And the nice thing is with these, we had a pair of them. And so this tree right here is the same one. It would just climb down, and from here it spent a lot of time there, like, because we're closer to the dumpster. Still a ways a little back, but he's like, do I want to go for this and get some food? So he was watching us. He was being weary. And it was just incredible that have an encounter with 2 pint martins in one spot. I have a couple photos from this exact same spot. And I think what they had is right down here where this one was at, it had cached some food. So they came up and they were digging up and playing and, getting that food out of there. You can see the second one's head popping up here. And so just a great and very unique experience. I imagine male and female. I'm not sure on the breeding season on them, but very impressive to see 2 of them. Got a couple more. There's 2 of them there. That one's pretty well hidden. But again, I think it was caching or had something cached in the snow. So it's putting its face in it. And, it could be that it was cleaning off as well. I know raccoons like to be clean. So I don't know. Maybe it was kind of cleaning off its face in the snow, rubbing the snow on its face. Oh, this is where we get into some of these bison that are, black and whites. This was too far away for any good photos. And it was one of those times it was like, oh man, I wish they were closer. This reminds me of a photo from Tom Murphy. These just bison out there, and they're just laying. And this was a really cold morning. So, I think it was around -25 to start the day. So you get the bison and that moisture freezes to them. And you can see her right here, old cow that she just is covered in that ice. So not black on the white in this one. I have a few here that I tried out just because I didn't get anything that I was quite wanting. This whole area. This is the fountain paint pots area. It's one of my favorite places to be able to get bison in the wintertime. Out on the far hillside, you got the steam billowing up because of the cold, and they kind of all started walking through it, and we're disappearing off into the steam. So tried a few different things here. Don't know how exactly they worked out. I think this is one of the ones I enjoy a little better, but just gives you a sense of that. These bison in the steam areas, the thermal areas as they move through. It's that, again, typical winter in Yellowstone. And this was fun. So It's a long-tailed weasel. Often they're referred to as an ermine. Ermine is actually going to be a short-tailed weasel, and I think I shared one of these earlier. This was a much longer encounter. We actually saw two of the. I was probably the same one, 2 different days. The first day, I missed it. Max saw it. Boom, and I let him out, and they went off running. And I think they got some blurry shots, or just at least saw it. Second day, third day. So I think we had it the first day. The second day we were watching with nothing. Third day, that might be big stuff somewhere in there. I mean, because as we came through this area, we got tracks, and I saw the tracks, and I said, and I looked at him for a second. I said, "We need to back up." It was going the other way, so I stuck it in reverse. And when I'm backing up, I do a lot of backing up with some of these photo trips to watch the tracks and see things. And watching the tracks are going back and forth and all over. And Max says, "There it is, got it." So again, put it in park, open the door, they get out, they go for it. I have one that stays in, just wants to watch it. So I backed up, put it in park, and this thing disappeared right outside the vehicle. So I jumped out, went around, and I stood up. I should have gotten down, which, it didn't turn bad standing up. I think Max and the other guy were down shooting at a level. And it actually took a minute. I was back and forth. I switched lenses. And it took a minute for it to pop back out of the hole. And it popped up, it looked around and just firing 10 frames a second, getting everything on this. He stands, he looks, wonders what's going on. And, pretty soon, like it is typical with these guys, boom, he's off. And so, I mean, you can see that it's just a quick shot as he's going. And I put this in here because, look at him through the air, and he just takes off like a bullet. And so again, the two of them go up. I get in the vehicle, I turn it around, start driving down, and I think they got it a little bit, and we kind of lost it. So they started going one way, I started going the other way, and I saw some tracks. So I put it in reverse, went back to them and said, "You guys get in, tracks going that way." So they popped in, we went up the road, and pretty soon it was nice. This time I'm like, "There it is." So we pop back, they pop back out. I pop out, and we catch it again for just a little bit. This was nice because this was up on a hillside, and it was kind of harder to see it because it was going back. And there was a bank of snow. I was able to get up just enough to kind of shoot right across even with it. I call this my Jason Loftus image. If you haven't seen Jason Loftus stuff, take a look at him, Untamed Images, and he does awesome with the light and the dark backgrounds. And that's one of the things I love about this is that dark background on this little guy. Just sticks right out. And this one's nice because it gives you a kind of a size idea. He's a tiny little thing. We caught up to him. I think this is the last time we had him before it disappeared, and they went back into the trees, and it was gone. I have this view here to kind of get an idea. I guess this is long tail. I think short-tailed weasels or ermine's going to be tail is going to be a little smaller. So just kind of a profile. You can see, what it looks like from the side, and see that black tip on the tail. So that black tip is, let's say a hawk or something sees that, and it's like, I'm going to make a meal, goes down, and it's going to go for that black tip on the tail because everything else blends in so well. And so it's okay if one of these guys loses a tail, but it's not okay if they lose anything else. So that's what we got going with that black tip on the tail. It's that distraction. A brown creeper. There's a few birds that we had on this. I was trying out a teleconverter on a few of them, on a gray jay and a stellar jay. So those it didn't turn out well with the setup I have on that 1.4 teleconverter. And so, and that was day one. So day 2 or day 3, the last days, we're actually along the Madison hoping for a bobcat. Had this brown creeper come through, and I told Max, I said, "Boy, I hope that brown creeper goes over to that moss." And not just a minute later, here it comes, and right over to this tree. And so I think I was the only one able to snap some quick photos off of this with this, in this case, a Douglas fir, the moss growing on the side. And you can see that long beak on this bird. this tree is perfect for that long beak. It's sticking that beak in all these cracks and crevices, um, to probe for things in there, and that's why that's long beak there. So next, I want to share this with you, and then after this, I have some tracks that I want to share with you. But this is going to be a video, so I'm going to be quiet for as well. Maybe I'll talk during the video. I won't play the whole thing, but this just shows the struggle with the bison and as it goes through the snow. So we're sitting there photographing this, and um, he starts moving towards the road. Say I need a little help with my video. It's not the best, but look at him struggle. I got to stop and take a breath, and it was amazing to watch him, and that these guys survive day in and day out in these type of conditions, and just the power through that. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty incredible. So I'll just finish this up. Watch how he takes a break and he just struggles out of this and he gets through it. These guys stay in here and survive in the winter. Tail goes up. It means one of two things: charge or discharge. I won't share that with you though. So tracks. I want to share this with you. So this here is an otter track, an otter slide. And these little places right here where it probably put its feet and slid, grabbed and slid. And so, we didn't see this otter. And I forgot to mention, we did see an otter earlier on day one. It was too fast, too far to photograph. We tried to track it down, but once they go in the water, it's hard to know where it was going to come up, or if it was going to come up, or if it had a den somewhere. In this case, this is really neat. And I learned something because Max and myself, we emailed Jim Halfpenny, which is a very well-known tracker. And he mentioned something about otters in his email. And he said right now it's otter mating season. And so these otters can travel mile, 2 miles or more, I think, across open land to bodies of water in search of a mate is what they're doing. And so what I want to do is I'm going to stop sharing this one and pull up a map to show you the distance this otter traveled, because we found this tracks and we found tracks earlier, and we kind of put it together of where this otter came from. Let me share this other screen here. Let's go this one here. And I'm going to move this over here. So here you have the fountain paint pot area. So, if you're going to go walk around fountain paint pots, it's right here. I'm going to zoom in on this area. And this is, a lot of guides call it silent dog forest because all the trees lost their bark. So these are the bobby sock trees. And you have Tangled Creek that goes through here. And it was this section right here. So otter came up here, came over, and did a slide and went into Tangled Creek. So my best bet of what this otter did is it got into Tangled Creek and it went through Tangled Creek up over this way. Let's move this down, and probably got out of Tangled Creek somewhere right in here. Then from here, it went across Fountain Flats all the way over to this point right here. And this is where we picked up those otter tracks. Went across the road and went into Nez Perce Creek. And so I think I measured this the other day. I think from here, from the far side, kind of the Mary Mountain Trail over to Tangled Creek here is about 2 miles. So, that's close to 2 miles that it traveled. Part of that is in the creek. So I don't know what this distance is here, but that's a pretty good distance for an otter to travel overland. We are very impressed by that. Let me stop this and go over and show you this other set of tracks now. So the Otter Track's here. And this next set of tracks, unsure. So Max said he saw him in the morning. We came back by, then I caught him and I got out and I looked at him and I looked at him and said, and he's like, yeah, I saw him before. We didn't stop. We're trying to decide because, not a bison. Bison are, you saw that video. Bison are going to go deep in the snow. Big rounded tracks. At first we were thinking, is it a cat? Because even I think a wolf would go deeper here, because I actually watched a wolf in this almost same area 2 years ago, and it was falling in. It might be a little crustier now, or it might have been on top more, but I thought, no, I kind of ruled off wolf. So we were thinking bobcat. Did a bobcat double step? Did it retrace its stuff? And it's just too big for a bobcat. And so we took these pictures. I came back later and did some measurements, and we sent these pictures to Jim Halfpenny. And his response, that's when I learned about the otter. And he said, Max had some pictures that you could actually see five toes. So five toes, mustelid weasel. And he said, just, with the gait here, with what it looks like, the five toes, his first impression was small wolverine or otter. We said, well, no drag marks, no slide marks. We saw the trail earlier from the otter. And so, I went back in the trees this way for a while. Max went the other way to follow these tracks and never saw a drag mark. So otters may drag a tail. They will do the sliding. So nothing conclusive. I'm leaning towards wolverine because I think that's what I really want it to be. And also doing some looking on the size of a Otter Track. It seems like it was 3 inches, 3.5 inches. And, again, I think this is a 16-inch ruler. 7-inch ruler. But you got to figure that whole thing is not the track. But still, I thought, well, maybe it's too big. So I'm hoping last we heard from Jim was yesterday. So we're hoping for an updated email where we updated him with these pictures that he might get a better idea of the size that we're looking at, the gait, the lope on this animal. And actually, so the day after we sent these to him, another photographer and guide, Adam Rice and Carl, the guide, they saw another set of tracks. They said it was very similar in size, more detail, again, mustelid. And so might have a wolverine that's kind of came through the area, which would be awesome. I mean, if you can't photograph it, you must at least get to see it. So thank you for watching. I know this one was a little bit longer, but some great things this week. Just trying to think of everything real quick because I don't know. I know I didn't hit it all. So 2 pine martens, 2 weasels, otter tracks, a single otter out past Hayden Valley, past Mud Volcano on its way towards Lahardy Rapids. Had a fox way out in Hayden Valley, had one at Fountain Flats, lots of bison. So, the bald eagles, just a great, and that was just the 3 days that most of all this came in. The other days we're seeing, the coyotes, the bison, bald eagles, the swans. Swans are almost gone. I think there was only 2 single ones at 2 different locations today. And so just, it's good out there still. Season's winding down, but it's just nice to be in the park. So thanks for tuning in. This is Adam with Tied to Nature, and this is for those that don't get out, can't get out, or can never get enough.